is there a way to be successful and still have some vices?
We're talking about a vice. What is a vice? A vice is something that you can't control, that has control over you. So it's not that you can't be successful. It's just what level do you want to be successful at?
How do you deal with stress, and how do you suggest others to deal with it?
Working out is probably the main tool and the easiest tool for everybody. There's no way you can be stressed out when you're in a high peak performance state. It's impossible. Proximity to success will change your life more than any amount of discipline. Discipline is hard to do, but when your environment carries you, it's going to be very easy to be successful. Everybody wants to know, man, I want to be successful. What do I do? It's not what you're going to do if you're still taking back steps. Everybody's life is 2 steps forward, 4 steps backwards. Let's stop taking the back steps and you will naturally elevate to baseline. Once you get to baseline, then that's when you introduce the new things. I had a mentor once, and part of his program was you get this app, and every 30 minutes you got to write down what you did the previous 30 minutes. He said, I just want you guys to see how much time you fuck off in a day. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing to see how much time I literally wasted. Why? Because we...
All right. Episode 3, Prime Time CEO Podcast. I got the one and only Gang God Goldie in the building.
You know, thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate it, man. You know, we had a little technical difficulties with the first episode, so we had to run it back, man.
Yeah, you know, that's life, though. That's life. You know, if you waiting for everything to go perfect, man, you're going to be real disappointed.
That's true.
So it's about being resourceful. When things happen, how can you roll with it? Do you sit there, get depressed, get stressed, or do you just try to be resourceful and turn into action mode? How can we fix it? You know, I was talking to my girl. I was a little heartbroken. I thought it was a good episode. And she told me what I tell her all the time. She said, I'm going to tell you what you tell me all the time. You can't do nothing about it, so just move forward. And don't spend no time worrying about things you can't change. It happened. It's messed up. How can I move forward, and how can I prevent it from happening again? So that's a good lesson, you know, just with anything in life.
Yeah, 100%, man. Speaking of stress, that kind of goes into my first question, because when you called me this morning, you told me that I was like, my initial reaction, I was like, damn, I got a little upset. But then instantly, I went and meditated, and these new questions just came to me, man. And I was like, exactly what you just said. You can't do nothing about it. The only thing you can do is grow and make a better episode. So, speaking of that, deal with stress, and how do you suggest others to deal with it?
I mean, I think it's really important to have multiple tools to deal with stress, right? I use meditation as one thing. I also use eating clean as another way, because people don't understand they have a lot of anxiety. They have a lot of built up emotion and erratic behavior because they're not eating the right foods. You know, they're not burning a clean flame. You know, they're overindulging in alcohol and caffeine. So, you know, working out is probably the main tool and the easiest tool for everybody. There's no way you can be stressed out when you're in a high peak performance state. It's impossible. Try to go out there and run 2 miles as fast as you can, or run for 20 seconds, 20 minutes as fast as you can. You're not going to think about tomorrow. You're not going to think about yesterday. All you're going to think about is your breath, so you can keep from suffocating.
Right.
You know,
right.
So that's the best way. When you're in a peak performance state, it forces you into the present moment, which is what? Flow state. So the best way to do it, the easiest way to do it for me isn't even meditation. It's get into a peak performance state. Anytime I'm not feeling right, I tell people like this too. Stop trying to define yourself and define your life when you're in that low frequency negative stress state. If you're in a low frequency negative stress state, you're going to say, my life is falling apart. My life sucks. How are things going to get better? So instead of defining yourself in that low frequency state, identify, I'm not in the right state of mind. I'm not even going to think about my life or think about my problems, because it's just going to get worse. Let me go get a workout in. And then when I'm in that higher frequency state, then define my life. So working out is probably one of the easiest tools for everybody. I mean, if we were so elevated that we could just sit here and raise our vibration, man, we wouldn't have these problems in the first place. So I don't think many people are that enlightened. But, you know, meditation does help. And I just recently found out that meditating shrinks, I don't know if it's the amygdala or something in your brain. They've done studies where it shrinks something, your frontal cortex or something like that, something that's one of the reactionary things in your brain. So meditation for sure helps.
Definitely, man. I mean, you put me up on knowledge right there just about, because I get stressed out sometimes, you know, with work and everything. But you're right. If you're constantly treating your body good, putting in good, it's hard for you to even get to that state, no matter the circumstance.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also all about framing. Like, how are you framing things in your head? I'm gonna have a positive frame with it. The situation happened, and it took me a couple seconds, but once I got over it, you know what it was? Hey, things always work out in my favor. That's my ideology. Good or bad, it is what it is. Everything is working out in my favor, and because I truly believe that. Okay, what's the best thing I can get out of this? Okay, I'm gonna have more energy next time. He's gonna come with better questions next time. I'm gonna have a better outfit next time, and then we're gonna make it even better. So that's how I frame it. Somebody else would have framed, "Oh, woe is me. Bad things always happen. I'm so stupid." Well, that's just that's self-talk. You got to have better self-talk.
100%.
And I'll give you one more gem, then I'm giving it back to you. Napoleon Hill, I read this book when I first went to jail, first book I ever read. He said, there is the seed of an equal or greater positive in every negative situation if you're willing to take the time to find it. And I truly believe that. And there's never been an instance in my life where something negative happened where I didn't have that mindset and didn't find something better. So I know it's just up to me. It's not for sure going to be there. You have to work and find it. But if you're willing to do the work and find it and really believe that, I truly believe every situation negative can be turned into an equal or greater positive.
That's true, man. You preaching again, man. I appreciate it, man. That's true, man. You look at every negative situation and try to find the positive in it. It's not negative no more.
That's 100%.
You always mentioning vices, and how it's good to cut them out and live a clean life. I'm just curious. Do you think there's a way you can be successful and still have some vices?
Man, that's a good question, because a lot of times I tell people my story about when I was smoking and my life became stagnant. I stopped smoking immediately. My life went up. Everybody's in the comments, man, you just wasn't the person that smoked. Man, I smoke and I still get things done. My question to you is, well, how great do you want to be? Mm-hmm. Right? Because if we're talking about a vice, what is a vice? A vice is something that you can't control, that has control over you. So it's not that you can't be successful. It's just, what level do you want to be successful at? I define success to me, not what I obtain, but how much control I have over my life and my disciplines and being able to restrain and refrain from those things that I know I shouldn't do. So if there's a vice, that means you can't control that. And to me, that's not success. Also, how you do anything is how you do everything. They talk about how weed is a gateway drug. I think everything that weakens discipline weakens other areas of discipline. The same way every strength that you build affects every other area. So every vice is just holding you back a little bit in other areas, because it's a cascading effect. It's a domino effect. So I feel like you just got to ask yourself, well, how much more successful could I be if I didn't? And, it's up to you how successful you want to be. I'll tell you what, though, people say, oh, Snoop Dogg, he smokes weed. Okay, how much more successful do you think he'd be if he didn't, though?
True. That's true, man.
Yeah. So it's like, man, how great do you want to be? I want to reach my potential in every area. I want to see how great I can be. I feel like that's the point of life. So if every vice that I can cut out gives me another level to who I can be, shoot, I'm going to cut out every single last one of them.
I like that, man. I hope everybody's listening, paying attention, man, because those are the keys, man. It's not, like people say weed's not that bad, alcohol's not that bad. They can still function, they can still do whatever off it. And in reality, like you were saying, just try to go without it for a little bit and just notice how much better your life is, man. For one, your breath will start smelling better. For one, man, with the weed and the alcohol, they both make it better.
People don't understand how much time it takes to roll up, to go to the store, to buy some backwoods, to roll up, to clean up, to make sure you're smelling fresh before you go in somewhere, so people don't. And then you're altering your state of mind, not in a positive way. You know? So it's like, my thing is this: keep smoking. The more you smoke, the more easy it is to be successful. I say it's easier now to be successful than any other time. People will actually argue for their limitations. They will argue me down about why they should still smoke. How easy it is to be successful. I hope you smoke. I hope you oversleep. It's hard enough to discipline what you're putting in your mouth. It's hard enough to do what you're supposed to do. It's hard enough to get up and stay sharp and all the things. It's already hard enough. Why would I put something else in my way to make all of these things I'm trying to do even harder? That is the definition of self-sabotaging behavior. Mm-hmm. Smoking weed is self-sabotaging behavior. This does nothing but make everything you're trying to do harder, yet you still do it and complain you're not where you want to be.
Say it again,
But you
man.
know
For the people in the
they gonna hit
back.
it, man. They come for your neck when you try to pull a drug out their mouth.
They do. They do. You know, that's that serious addiction, you
Yeah. Oh
know.
man, it's so annoying, man. Like you be with around people who smoke. So I don't even hang out with people who smoke too much anymore. Oh, they always got to take a smoking break. Hey, before we go in here, let me roll up real quick. They gonna
Yeah.
ask me, man, I don't even smoke. You really gonna ask me, can you smoke in my car? How disrespectful is that? You are such a fiend. You are throwing character out the window to ask me something you know you shouldn't be asking me, right? Oh, I can't eat before I smoke. I mean, I gotta smoke before I eat. Just all of these nonsensical things. It's like you're really an addict, and which
Yeah.
means you're not in control. And I hate to not be in control.
100%, man. Every man that's out there listening, man, you want to take control of your life, take control of your vices, man.
I agree. How can you have your woman respect you when you are dependent on this substance? This substance has a hold on you. How could she look to you for respect and look at you with respect when you have things that are holding you back like that? You know, it's just if you want to
100%.
be a man of respect and people to respect you, you don't want to have any vices. Let everybody else around you have vices, and they'll look up to you as a person. Dang, he has none. I wish I was like him. That's a leader. That's the one people are gonna follow. I don't want to follow somebody who got to smoke every 10 minutes. I don't want to follow somebody who has to alter their state of mind to do things. You know, that's not somebody I want to follow.
100%, man. I agree with that. Next, moving on, man. A little segue. It actually goes because I heard you speaking about like getting to a baseline, like cutting all that out, and then you're at a baseline, and you can grow from there.
Yeah. So go ahead.
The question was, just and you can just build on it. Just describe ways to get yourself back to baseline and tips to stay there and keep growing once you're there.
Okay. So, you know, I do a lot of coaching, right? And so everybody pretty much has the same problems. They want to get their life better. They want to get to the top. So they want to know what do I need to do? So it's not about what you do, right? It's about not doing the things that take you backwards, not smoking, not skipping the gym, not eating bad, shutting down that poor relationship with that woman or those friends who are a bad influence. It's a removal process. Everybody wants to know, man, I want to be successful. What do I do? It's not what you're going to do if you're still taking back steps. Everybody's life is 2 steps forward, 4 steps backwards. Let's stop taking the back steps and you will naturally elevate to baseline. Once you get to baseline, then that's when you introduce the new things. And that's why most people fail when trying to change their life, because they don't realize they're adding new things, but they're still doing the bad things, taking them backwards. So they really remain stagnant. And it's not encouraging when you're doing a bunch of new things and you still see yourself in the same place. So you stop. But if you just stopped doing the wrong things, stop the vices, stop skipping the gym, stop doing all the things you know. Stop getting on the phone with that negative friend. Stop going to that club. Stop drinking. Stop going out to that place you know you shouldn't be. Stop going to the, you know, if you go to the strip club and got a habit in there. I'm not saying the strip club is bad, but if you got a habit, you know, stop wasting your money on things you shouldn't waste. If you just stopped doing all the wrong things, your life would elevate. Then once you get to that elevated state, now let's introduce new things, new skills, new habits. You understand? But it's a removal process first. And I truly believe that.
100%, man. 100%. Speaking of like baseline, what would you say? Damn, what was the question? All right, never mind.
You can restart. You know, we're not live, so you can just say it again.
But I ain't even have it written down. It's just something that popped in my mind. I'll come back to it if it comes back. But let's see. Moving on, we're gonna talk about relationships and girls a little bit. Okay. So, and this is, I got a friend. I ain't gonna put him on blast, man, but I feel like the woman he's with is just holding him back. She doesn't really do anything to uplift him, and I told him that to his face, and his response was like, Nick, you're gonna have to put up with something from every woman, you know, like you pick what you want to deal with. Every woman comes with something. What would you say to
I would say,
like
you know,
that?
He's like most dudes who have been programmed by the media, happy wife, happy life. Oh, you're going to have to deal with something from every woman. I would say you don't. I would say you don't. I would say a woman is going to do what you allow her to do. Everybody is going to do what you allow them to do. So if you allow certain treatment that you don't like, if you allow it, she's going to keep doing it. If you didn't allow it, two things are going to happen. She's going to leave because she can't do it, or she's going to conform because she wants to be with you. You know, I'm not allowing a woman to do anything that I don't like, that's not up to my standards. I don't think, it goes back to what I was saying before. It's all about mindset. I feel like I don't have to settle. I feel like every woman should raise her standards to mine. And if you can't catch a woman who's at that standard, then you need to raise your level. See, a lot of the guys will put up with things that they don't really like because they know that they probably can't get another woman. So they stick with this one and accept poor treatment. That's why I'm an advocate always working on yourself. As long as I can get better, I can catch better. As long as I can become this top 1% human being in every area of life, guess what? I'm going to be able to have women who are going to conform to whatever because I'm such a catch and such a prize. Plus, you don't know the dangers of dealing with a woman who doesn't treat you and behave in the manner that you feel like you should be treated, because subconsciously it will chip away at your self-image. And if you've ever read Psycho-Cybernetics or any of the literature on it, your self-image defines and guides your life. No matter how capable you are, skilled you are, if your self-image is low, you will not even be able to perform at the capacity of your skills. And when a woman comes in the house every day and treats you less than a king, talks to you like you less than a king, treats you less than you feel like you are, subconsciously, because you accept it, it's because you feel like you're that, and you will start to think you're less, and then you will not even be able to perform outside the house at your best. So I take it very serious. I would rather be by myself because then I can control how I feel. But if you let anybody come in and treat you less than you deserve, that's a confirmation that you feel like that's what you deserve because you accept it. So I would tell him, man, work on yourself, build some self-worth in yourself. And once you treat yourself to the utmost, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you go to the gym every day, you eat healthy. Once you treat yourself with the utmost respect, anyone else has to come into your life and treat you at that same level. Otherwise, it will be, but we don't treat ourselves well. We don't treat ourselves good. We do this, we do that. We do things that aren't reflective of self-love. So therefore, when a woman comes in, she gets to treat you at that same standard. It's the same. But when you treat yourself up here, everybody, male, female, has to come in, treat me like this. Otherwise, you're going to walk away because it's beneath your standard. So raise your own personal standard first.
100%, man. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. That was similar to my response to him, but some people just learn better by going through it,
You know what I would say also to that, man, because I've tried to change a lot of people. The best way to change somebody is to be so successful that they come ask you. People, especially, it's hard to teach people in proximity. In proximity, I can't teach anybody anything. Why? Because they feel like they know you. In proximity, they don't want to listen. You can probably reach somebody through this camera before you can reach somebody right next to you, but the information is the same. But because of the proximity, it's something about being close to somebody and knowing somebody that you have to be so successful before people next to you listen to you. It just is what it is. So I tell people all the time, if you really want to change that person in your family, if you really want to change your best friend, you know what you have to do? Stop trying to change them and put all that energy into changing yourself till you get to such a high level that they turn around and come up to you and ask you for help. Because that's the only way you can help somebody anyway, when they want the help. You can't tell somebody what to do. So what it is I got to become so successful in all of these areas, in all these core areas, that it's just so obvious that they turn around and say, hey, help me. That's when they could be helped. So the only way you can help other people, man, is to be super successful.
Say it again, man. Say it again. Speaking of just being lonely and focusing on yourself, what are some tips because that's something, honestly, I'll be vulnerable, that's something that I struggle with. Like, I don't love being alone, but I don't have a problem with it. But what are some tips or some advice you would give to people that really need to be alone to work on themselves, or just,
Yeah, man, for me, I lived in a lifestyle where I had multiple people around me for a regular basis, so I couldn't wait to get by myself. So I coveted my alone time. But I would say, it all starts with self-love. And if you love yourself, you'll be okay being by yourself. I mean, people don't like to be by themselves. The same reason people have a bunch of vices, the same reason people watch TV and scroll mindlessly on social media and do all of these things. It's distraction from our own thoughts. We are running from that voice inside of our head. And that's what everybody is running from. So if you can learn to deal with that, go through the uncomfortableness of hearing that voice, hearing all the things wrong that you know you need to be doing, really being able to sit with yourself long enough that you overcome that, just think about how powerful you'll be. Because most people can't. That's why people drink, why people smoke, why people are in relationship with not only women and men that they don't really like, but and have friends that they know aren't good for them, because they are so weak internally. They do not want to sit by themselves and have to hear that voice in their head. So if you can be the top, probably less than 1% who can do that, who can overcome that, how powerful will you be in the world? And let me tell you something else, because I am one of those people. Do you know what happens when you're so happy to be by yourself? When you feel so fulfilled by yourself, you are never alone. Why? Even if I wanted to be alone, it would be so hard, because people are always attracted towards me. Why? Because it's something inside of myself that everybody's missing. Everybody is, and what's inside of me overfloweth. I love myself so much. I'm so self-fulfilled. I'm so fulfilled on the inside that people feel that energy, because that's what everybody's looking for. That's why they drink. That's why they smoke. They find it in a bottle. They find it in sex. They find it in the drugs. They find it in scrolling on Instagram. But they can find it in a person energetically when they see you, and when they meet you, they see that you need nothing. And because you need nothing, you'll get everything. And everyone will want to be around you. Women will feel that energy. Men will feel that energy. So it's really just understanding what I just said, the reason you don't want to be alone, overcoming that, understanding you're going to be uncomfortable. Why? You need to hear that voice in your head, because a lot of times it's uncomfortable because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in life. And that voice is going to tell you. So guess what? Sit down, listen to it, work in those areas, get better in those areas, learn to control that mind with meditation and different things. And once you become at peace with being by yourself, loving yourself, knowing yourself, enjoying time with yourself, guess what? You will radiate such energy that everybody's going to want to be around you. And then you can choose not to be by yourself, because everybody's going to want to be around you.
Agreed, man. Agreed. Speaking of that, this is just like an add-on question, but I know it varies with people and everybody's different, but what would you say is like a realistic timeline for somebody that's trying to get to baseline and then continue to elevate themselves?
A realistic timeline. Well, it's going to vary for different people depending if they stick with it, but you can literally change your life in 3 months. You can be on a completely different path in 3 months, and within a year, if you don't take any back steps, if you don't take any days off, if you don't slip up, in a year's time, your life can look unrecognizable than it looks like today. And I've done it multiple times. When I cut out all the wrong things, when I structure my day, when I'm not fucking off, when I'm not doing the things I know, and I have a strict schedule of only the right things and none of the wrong things, not only does my body change in 90 days, not only does my life change, things start happening for me positively. So I know you can 90 days on a strict blueprint, you can change your life, and in a year's time, it could look unrecognizable, where people can look at you like, damn, did you hit the lotto? What happened to you? I promise you, it's just we waste so much time in a day. We do so many wrong things. When you really, I had a mentor once, and a part of his program was, you get this app, and every 30 minutes, you got to write down what you did the previous 30 minutes. He said, I just want you guys to see how much time you fuck off in a day. And it was amazing to see how much time I literally wasted, and how much time in the day there really is. It's a lot of time in a day. That's why people like Elon Musk can have $3 billion businesses. Jeff Bezos could do as much as he could do. And the average person out here can't barely hold down a job. Why? Because we just haven't been taught time management. So I would just say, if you really want to change your life, you just have to get the right blueprint and learn how to stick to one. If you just wake up haphazardly and do whatever you want, you're not going to be successful. You have to wake up with a blueprint aligned with your goals. And I got that in my program, not only just for life goals, but also for fitness. 90 days with the right macros, fats, proteins, carbs, the right workout. 90 days, you can change how you look drastically.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that, man. I signed up for the program, so that's something I want to do within myself for sure.
No, oh man, it's one of the best things I ever did in my life.
But man, I'm looking forward to it, man. All right, so moving on here, another question. Because you talk a lot about, women respecting you and things like that. I'm curious to know, is there a way to gain respect from a woman after a relationship started and you might have done things throughout it to lose her respect? Can
So
you get it back?
can you gain the respect back of a woman who you lost respect from?
Like she lost respect for you.
This is what I say to that. You can, but why would you want to? It's too hard. Throw the whole chick away and get another one. I had a mentor one time, man. I was going through it with a woman at the time, and I was like, man, I'm trying this, I'm trying that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And he told, it wasn't that she lost respect for me, or maybe she did, but either way, I couldn't get her to be who I wanted her to be. And I said, do you think it could work? He said, Goldie, it could work, but it's gonna take so much out of you. That's probably gonna be the only thing you're gonna do the rest of your life. And your business is gonna suffer. You're not gonna be able to do it with another woman if you wanted to do it. It's gonna take so much out of you. Why don't you just use that energy and go get you another woman? So I would say the same thing. Once the respect is lost, it's gone. It's gonna be very hard to get it back. Now you can get it back, but the time and energy that it would take to get it back, why would you just not go out there and get another woman and come in with that respect, know what you did wrong, don't do it wrong with her, and maintain that respect? Because a woman is always going to remember what you did to lose the respect. So you're going to have to work double time and overtime trying to get it back and put the pieces back together. You're better off learning from your mistakes, understanding the damage you did. And the next woman you get, she's going to see you with respect, and you're going to maintain that respect because you're not going to do those things, right? And I'm not going to put it all on women. Yeah, maybe you should try to get it back, but at the same time, it is what it is. These women have a reason to have lack of respect. She gets to talking to you crazy. She's not holding the same respect she used to hold for you. She has a little attitude. Why? For multiple reasons. Well, one reason is when you got with her, you put on a front, you put on a fake. You acted like you were this, you opened her door, you made it seem like you were doing this and doing that. And by the time that front came down 3, 4, 5 months down the line, she wakes up one day like, I've been bamboozled. Who is this man?
Yeah.
But she's in love with you. She's made a connection with you. So now she just resents you and she talks to you crazy. And she should feel like that because you lied to her. You didn't keep it real with who you are. So then that's where the situation is. And the man says, oh, she doesn't treat me with respect. Oh, she's tripping now. Well, you're not who you presented yourself to be. And she has every right to be upset with you. And then the other reason is a man makes a commitment to a woman. You say, I'm going to be with you and only you. Then you go out and you're with somebody else. And then when somebody asks you about it, you don't tell the truth, right? So not only are you losing respect because you're lying, because you only lie to somebody that you're scared of, and you lost respect because you're not a man of your word. You said you were going to do something that you didn't, and when you didn't tell me. But what type of man can gain respect when he's moving around like a broad? He's got a second phone, a second app, saving names as different names. He's sneaking at the house, tiptoeing out the house that he pays for or maybe doesn't pay for. That is not respectable behavior. And you're not going to have respect from a woman or a man when you're displaying non-respectable behavior. If you're sneaking around like a little broad, you think that woman's going to respect you? She'd respect you. She may not be with you, but she'll respect you more if you look her dead in her face and say, listen, this is what happened. Now, if you choose to stay with me, maybe we can fix it, but I got to let you know. I'd rather her walk out the door with my head held high and respect with her than her stay, because I know the situation is going to end regardless anyway, because once the respect is gone, the relationship is gone not too far after that. But if she leaves, but I still maintain my respect as a man in her eyes, then I'll always have action back at that woman in the proper manner.
Facts, man. That's true. Do you think that, damn, let me see. Oh, I was just gonna say, piece of advice from my mom, man. Trust and respect is like toothpaste. Once you squirt it out the tube, you can get it back in there, but it's damn near impossible.
Hey, that's a good.
You know?
Hey, that's a good one. I haven't heard that. Yes, just like that. Yep. Yeah, you can do it, but it's like I said, it's gonna be so hard. It's better to just go buy another tube.
Exactly. It's not gonna flow out the same. It's everything gonna be different.
Nah, that's real. That's real. And people should think about that in every area, not just with a woman. Not just with a woman. When you lie, when you do something out of character, man, it's really hard to get that character back. You know, you do one thing, and people will look at you crazy no matter. You do 100 things right, it's still gonna be that one thing you did.
Yep. 100%. Let's see. We kind of spoke on this in the last, like in the first episode we did, but I kind of like your response, so I'm gonna ask you again. It's kind of a different question. What advice would you give to someone in their hometown and wants to grow, but moving might not be an option for?
There's no reason. There is no reason that moving is not an option. It may be uncomfortable. It may be hard to do, but there's no reason that moving is not an option. And moving, proximity is everything. If you want to predict somebody's life, you can look at their zip code. That's what insurance companies do. By when you're going to die, what habits you might have, what your health might be, by zip code. Because proximity is way more powerful than anything else. You have to be damn near a genius to be able to be in a poor environment and make it out, or be in an environment and supersede what's going on there. And most people are not that strong. Right? That's why, they got neighborhood heroes, because there's the one that got out. Why? Because that was the anomaly. You think you're going to be an anomaly? Well, all right, you're playing lottery with your life. And what if you don't?
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, get the cheapest apartment or even the cheapest rent a room in the best city, in the best zip code in the country. Your life just by proximity will change. That's just how, just do the studies on it. Just trust me. If you want proximity to success, will change your life more than any amount of discipline. Discipline is hard to do, but when your environment carries you, it's going to be very easy to be successful when everybody around you doesn't drink, when everybody around you is going to the gym every day, when everybody around you is talking about business, when everybody around you has a supercar. Then your environment will naturally bring you up, just because in proximity, just by your standard, it will force you and pressure you to be like that. Same when it's negative. If it's a negative environment, people's doing everything wrong. Seldom do people start doing drugs because they just woke up one day and said, I wonder what crack feels like.
Yeah.
It's always introduced by a man, a woman that you know, a friend, a family member, right? So most things in life, you aren't naturally going to be unsuccessful, right? It's other people around you that influence those things. So what you need to do is get around people who are going to influence you in the positive. So, and most of the time that's going to come with areas of more wealth. Not always, but sometimes.
Agreed, man.
And I'll tell you, like I've told you once before, people know, man, I jumped out of my hometown, and I didn't have to. I had some roommates. I decided to be homeless and move to Las Vegas and sleep in my car and shower at the gym because I so wanted more than where I was. I didn't have to. I put myself on that uncomfortable situation, and it changed my life. And now I go back and I see people in the same place they were. I have a brother, he just got out of prison, did 12 years at the age of 17. And I tell him all the time, hey man, you're really not missing nothing. You're going to come back and see people in the same place they were since you left. He came back and he said, man, you weren't lying. It's people doing the same thing that they were doing. That's just how life is. You have to force yourself into those uncomfortable situations. I took my son, I have full custody. I took my son across the country to live with only me in a place where we have no family. Most people wouldn't have done that. Most people would have said, oh, well, his family is here. I understood. You have to do the things that are uncomfortable. What is uncomfortable? That's the place that you grow. If you're in your hometown, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always got. To get something different, you have to do something different. So sometimes you need to do something so different that it shatters that paradigm, it shatters your reality, and it forces the universe to bring something different into your life.
I like that, man. I'm taking your advice, man. I'm moving, man. I'm out of my home.
Best thing I ever did. Like, it's the biggest cheat code from when I left my hometown and moved to Vegas. The biggest jump in my life, because it forces you to do something different. It forces you to come up with ideas. When your back is against the wall, you get creative ideas. When your back against the wall, you have to dig deep. When you're back against the wall, you take the time to sit and focus, right? But when you're too comfortable, you're not forced into that. So it forces that. And then when I did it again, when I went to Atlanta and then went from Atlanta to here with my son, listen, it was the biggest level up I ever had in my life. Being around success, being around everybody doing things, it's going to be the best thing that you ever do in your life.
I'm looking forward to it.
And the more uncomfortable it is, the more you should know that's when you run to it. Identify, it's the things you don't want to do that gives you the most uncomfortable and anxiety feeling that you know you need to do, because that's where the biggest amount of growth is going to be. So if you could just, that's what I say, it's all about paradigm and framework. If you could start framing things differently, when I had that anxiety feeling, okay, this is where the growth is. If you start thinking like that, then anxiety won't break you down. It'll actually energize you, because you know on the other side of it is the biggest growth you're going to get. I tell people all the time, like, if you have vices and you have problems, guess what? You have an opportunity that everybody else doesn't, because every time you have the urge for that vice or for that addiction, Every time you can overcome it, you build strength, and you only build strength with resistance. In the gym, you would not be able to build muscles without resistance. So a lot of people in life who don't have any resistance, you can see them in life. They don't have as much character. They don't have as much depth. They don't have as much wisdom, right? So you should see an opportunity in when things go wrong, when there's a lot of pressure on you, because on the other side of that, you're building a growth in yourself.
I like that, man. It's all internal, man, you know?
All internal.
For sure. So this is something that I just wanted to ask you. I don't really know like what your relation, if your parents are still in your life or not, but mine are. And you know, I've been through some things, been through some ups and downs in my life. Communication was good, communication was bad, it fell off. So how would you uh advise somebody to keep good communication with their parents, or just whoever raised them, you know, whoever told them right from wrong, um about what you want in life, because that's not always the easiest thing. And a lot of times I feel like when I talk to my parents, sometimes like they give me a lot of good advice, they point me in the right direction, they would never tell me anything wrong, but I feel like a piece of them just wants to keep me as the kid Nick and just keep me right there with them how I was when I was growing up. You know, so how would you
It's a lot.
combat that?
It's a lot of layers to that question. I'll say this,
I
right?
got you.
A lot of times people need to get away from their parents to become successful because their parents give them all the wrong information, because your parents probably aren't where you want to be. It's a different day and time. Not even if they were successful in their time, it's a new time, and what worked then isn't going to work now. Yeah, maybe 20 years ago you went to college, you know, you got a degree, you got a good job. Maybe that worked. That doesn't work now. So how can they tell you something that's not going to work now? You shouldn't listen to people who aren't where you want to be, because people can only tell you how to get to where they are. If they could tell you how to be successful, they'd be successful. That's no knock to them. So the thing is, when I'm talking to my mother, I'm not talking about what I'm doing. I already know my mom. You know, she lives in the same city that she grew up in. Okay. So there's certain things that I'm not going to ask her. And even if she means well, you have to be very careful of those seeds that are planted in your subconscious mind of doubt. So it's some things I won't even tell my mom, because I know where she's coming from. I know she's going to it's already hard enough for me to do it. There's already a lot of anxiety behind doing it. I already have a lot of self-doubt about doing it. So I'm not even going to bring it up to her to even plant anything else in my mind about it. If we get to talking on that subject, I'm just going to not respond. I'm going to get off the phone. But I'll talk to her about things that have nothing to do with those things, so I can keep the communication right. But if she's too much hitting me with negativity about the things I'm doing, then I will stop talking to her. I will stop talking to anyone who is getting and obstructing my dreams. And a lot of times it will be your family. But once you start to do what you're supposed to do, and you draw that line, like, listen, I don't want to talk about that. You're being negative about my dreams. So if we're going to have a conversation, I want you to not talk about that. And if you can't do that, then we're not going to talk. Right? And if they love you, they'll respect that. And if they don't, hey, you love your parents or you love yourself and your dreams more. Man, I love my dreams more. You know what I'm saying? And then it's one of those things, like I said, man, just don't take advice from people who aren't where you want to be. Yeah, I could take a lot of advice, family advice from my mom. I could take advice about, you know, she knows the right medicines and the herbs and the things like that. She can tell me how to have a good relationship with people in my family, but she can't tell me about this success right here. Yeah. So therefore, I'm not going to listen to her about it.
And see, that's where it gets a little complicated for me, because my parents are pretty successful. They've been entrepreneurs their whole life. They live a good life, you know. So it's like I want to listen to them because I obviously want what they have. But like you were saying, do you love yourself and your dreams more? Or you love them more, you know? And you gotta. Yeah, I like that, man. I like that. That's a good philosophy.
Yeah, and I've even heard it from my mentors and things of that nature. They would even say, like, yeah, you should listen to me, but you should ultimately listen to yourself, because it's a lot. Because what they can do, they say you can do bigger and better. I was listening to something T-Pain was talking about, and he said if he'd have listened to everybody who gave him advice in the music industry, he would have stopped using that. What was it? What is that thing? Yeah, if T-Pain would have listened to everybody else that he knew in the music industry, and he would have stopped using auto-tune, which made him famous, right? The advice from all of these greats like Usher and Snoop Dogg and oh, this is a gimmick, oh, you're ruining the music, this, that, and the third. He said if he listened to those people, he would have stopped using the thing that made him famous. So even people ahead of you still don't know. It's always a new uncharted path. So it's one of those things. You just have to branch out, and you just got to let people know, listen, if I'm going to fail, then guess what? I'm going to try and fail, because fail is not failing. Failing is just a lesson that I haven't learned yet, but I got to do it.
100%.
I feel like the biggest thing that most people do, and I see it, like being coddled by their parents, because as a parent myself, you want your kids to not go through no hardship. You don't want them to fall. You don't want them to fail. But every time I failed and all the hardship I went to made me into who I am, and I wouldn't be who I am without that. So to deprive your kids of that is almost to give them a disease and a handicap, because that's the only way to become strong. And I've seen it in people that I know. I've seen it in friends that I have. People out here, and I'm not saying for your situation, but in general, people out here are raising their kids like they got some trust fund for them to be into. They're doing this for them. They're doing this for them. They're coddling them from this. They're setting them up over here. Then they get out in the house at 18, and then they wonder why these kids can't figure their life out, and they're stressed out in this because you did everything for them. You acted like they were going to turn 18 and get a trust fund or something. Now they have to go out into the regular world where nobody's going to coddle them and see how life really is. So the best thing you would do for your kids is make it hard, because that makes you develop the character. And going out there and branching out and figuring things out on your own, possibly failing, that's what makes you who you want to be.
Yeah, 100%. Your failures define your success, man. 100%. Speaking of that, does money define success to you, or if not, what does?
Oh yeah, it's a part of it for sure. And then in society, I mean, if you say money doesn't define success, it's kind of like, all right, sounds good. Well, give me all yours then, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of it, because if you can't figure that part out, it's going to be very hard to have a good life without money. Because as long as you don't have money, you can't be free. I don't know anybody who could be successful who's not free. I say it all the time, man. You don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you like. You have been having to pick from certain options because you don't have enough money. You go to the restaurant and you order the same thing every single time because you don't have an exorbitant amount of wealth to say, oh, just let me try everything on the menu. Yeah. No, you have to get what you know you like, because you don't want to waste your money because you don't have enough. So you don't even know what you like. You haven't even traveled to enough places. You haven't had the time to read enough books. You haven't had the time to explore and get teachers for different instruments. You might be a savant at something, but you'll never know because you don't have the time and the energy to know. So I say all the time, man, just to live a fulfilled life, you have to have money, because it takes money to do everything. Now, is that all success? No, but that's a part of it, and we can't leave that out.
Yeah.
And another part of success to me is being able to control your destiny, being able to start with nothing and know how to build out a blueprint to success in whatever area. Okay, I want to be good. I want to learn a new language. I want to learn this instrument. I want to do this. Being able to control your destiny and having that control in yourself, I feel like is the biggest success. That's why people who just have money and they've been given money, hit the lottery, or have rich parents, they're not as happy in life, because until you can learn to do that, that's probably the most important, most fulfilling thing, is being able to know that I have the capability to do anything. I can lose it all. I know how to get it back. I can do this. I can do that. So I feel like having control of your life is probably the most beneficial thing that you would say, okay, I'm successful because I can control my destiny.
100%, man. 100%. Let's see. This one is kind of like it varies. It's just we some blacks, young, successful men. We getting money, and I feel like only people that get money can answer this. So I'm gonna ask you, what do you feel like the best time of year what is the best time of year to get money?
The best time of year to get money is whenever you're feeling at your best. I don't believe in anything. Like, I don't believe in recessions. I don't believe in, this is the high time. I don't believe in, this is the time that everybody got their taxes back. Yes, these factors do matter, but the most determined factor is me. How I'm feeling, how hard I'm working, how much work I'm putting in, how much research I did on what I'm doing. I don't like to feel like anything is out of my control. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things to be successful. I heard a guy say it, and he might have been using a word that most people haven't heard or think the word means something else, but he would say, One of the biggest causes of failure in life is mysticism. And he defined mysticism as the thought that something or someone has more control over your life than you. The president don't, the recession doesn't. I control my life. So I've made more money during recessions, or when everybody said, oh, man, nobody has any money, than any time. So I don't listen to anything. I know at any given moment I can make the most money as long as everything is on point.
100%.
Once you get to thinking, oh, this is the best time to make money, guess what happens? You're over there waiting till that time to really spring into action. So I feel like it's real dangerous. Not to say there's not validity in it, right? It is. But like I said, for most people, you have not fully optimized your work ethic. You have not fully optimized what you're doing yet to where that's the biggest factor.
Definitely, man. That's a good way to look at it, good perspective on it, because, I tend to think, like the winter time is kind of like slow for most businesses. I actually was really gonna pump the podcast like last one there, but it got cold in Charlotte, man. But that it goes back to me internally. I should just push through it and been more determined about it, and it didn't matter if it was cold outside. It didn't matter what time of year it was.
I think it's a lot of things we tell ourselves, and we all do it to convince ourselves to do, to do less. I'm always trying to convince myself to do more. I really feel like doing more solves everything. Things ain't going right, do more. This ain't working, do more. Do more reps, put more hours in. I feel like doing more is probably the key to everything. Not do less. I don't know when doing less ever got you ever going to get you what you want.
Yeah.
But we'll convince. Hey, it's a mind game. Our mind will trick us into believing that, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. So remember in the episode yesterday, towards the end, I kind of switched it up to kind of more fun questions. So I'm gonna do the same with this. What's your favorite clothing brand, man?
My favorite clothing brand is mine, Game God, at GameGodShop.com,
Definitely.
You got to be a game god, man, and people get it confused. I'm not the only game god. Game god is a term. What is game? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. What is a god? Supreme being, man. You have to be the supreme ruler of yourself. Like I say, it's very important. Control the controllables, control your life, having discipline, being able to restrain and refrain, and having wisdom. I believe those two things are the most important things. Developing wisdom, developing knowledge, developing experience, developing skills, and then with that, being able to control your day, control your mind, to control the controllables. Those two things are the most important things. So, Game God, the clothing brand. Hey man, they want me to mention they want me to mention them online. They got to pay me. You know what I'm saying?
Figured you might say that, man. I respect it, man. And that hoodie, I'm waiting on mine.
I got you.
Fresh. Let's see. This is a two-part question, and I'm gonna ask the second part first because it kind of segues into the first part. But do you skip breakfast or do you eat breakfast?
I skip breakfast.
You skip breakfast
for the most part. Yeah. What I'll do, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll get a shake. There's a protein shake, then I head right to the gym.
I like that.
They say you should, as you shouldn't, man. Me, I don't really believe in none of that, man. I believe in what I believe in. I believe in whatever you think gonna work. And to me, it's just easier to get out the door fast. Just in the quickest way is to get a protein shake. My body's been fasting all night. I want to maintain my muscles. Let me get some protein in and let me get straight to the gym before I change my mind and don't want to go.
What so you like a morning workout kind of do?
Morning workout, and really I can work out anytime, but I've just found, like I say, people, man, you got to know yourself. I know myself. If I don't work out in the morning, the chances of me working out decrease significantly
throughout the day.
And the longer the first is 25% less that I work out, then it goes to 50. Then the later it gets, the more less likely I'm gonna work out.
Yeah, you just be like, I'll just do it tomorrow.
Exactly.
At 10 o'clock.
So I try to just set myself up for success by knowing myself.
I like that, man. That's knowledge, man. That's game. That's why I had you on here, man. You're very intelligent, man. You ever been on the jet?
I have.
You have. How do you feel like it compares to commercial?
Man, commercial flying to me is like riding the bus. I hate it. It's peasantry. I don't deserve to be there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in getting a private jet, I will have one. Come back to this video because that's the only way I deserve to fly. Like getting the whole process of having to get to the airport 2 hours early, stand in line, check my bag, let them pat you down.
Yeah.
It's just exhausting. If you have an hour flight, you still got to go through the whole rigmarole of going through the airport. It's beneath me, man. So I said, you know what? If I don't like something, I got to change it. You know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Um, Speaking of jets and travel, you don't have to go into specifics if you don't want, but what's the most you done blew on a vacation, on a good time?
Probably like 50 grand.
50 stacks, I feel you. I'm not there, mine's like 20,
Yeah.
but
And hey, when you're having fun, man, it can stack up real quickly.
it can, man. You look up, you 10 grand in
Man.
by just sitting there.
But I feel like, experience is what life's all about. To me, my life, goal is not to get money just to have money. My goal is to get money, one, so I can be free, do what I want, when I want, with who I want, in no way I don't. And two, to live a life of an adventure and experiences. So I'm not getting a bunch of money to hoard it. I'm getting money so I can spend it on doing things and experiencing life and just opening my eyes, broadening my perspective. So, I have a good time when I'm out on vacation, spending money, enjoying time with my friends and my family and, just seeing different things.
100%.
Shoot, I'm trying to up that number, man. I want to have a $500,000 vacation.
Half a ticket,
But
dog.
what's more than that though? I want to make every day like a vacation. I want to live in the laps of luxury, with a water view, a waterfront view, and do the things. I want every day to be a life that I don't feel like I got a vacation. That's the ultimate goal.
Preach, man, preach. Speaking of like saving and stuff like that and money, how do you feel about saving? Like
And I have a real controversial perspective on saving. This is how I feel. I'm really not going to save until I get to a certain point. Everything up until a certain point, I just invested back into myself. Now, once I got to a certain point, then I started to save. But I feel like most people are saving such insignificant amounts that you might as well just put that money back into yourself and build yourself and your capability to make more money. 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. If you save it, so what? What can you, let's say you double it. Let's say you put it in the stock market and double it, which you won't. You got $30,000. What are you going to do with that? Nothing life changing. But $1,000, $2,000 on the right event, the right mentor, the right books could change everything for you. So I'm an avid person I'm going to invest in myself first before I save. Because you can never lose. You can never lose a self-investment.
Yeah.
I mean, the knowledge that I've gained through books and mentors and experiences and networking, you can't even put a price on it. There's not an amount of money that I would give you for that information back.
Yeah, man. That, to give you a little personal story, that same friend I was asking you about the girl about, we was in the mall, he was showing me his bank account. He had like, I won't say how much, couple thousand in there, and it was actually when I bought these glasses, man. We was in the Cartier store. I dropped a couple thousand on them, and I was like, man, why don't you get a pair? And he was like, man, nah, I gotta save this money. And I'm like, man, for what? Like, what are you saving it for? Why don't you say you want to do this, you say you want to do that. Why don't you spend some money in here on something that will elevate what you're trying to do?
Man, we think the same. I feel like not everybody successful think like that, but I think on different level, you think of things differently.
Yeah.
Those glasses are an investment. If for nothing more, it makes you feel better.
You see a little better.
Your frequency is better. And when your frequency is better, everything you touch turns to gold. Hey, when I put the chains on, when I put the suit on, when I'm driving in a Rolls Royce, I feel different. When I feel different, I act different. When I act different, I produce better results. And so it matters then when you hopping out and you not feeling your best. Guess what? You're not going to act your best. You're not going to attract your best. Hey, man, you want a top woman, you want a great woman and have a great relationship. Hey, man, you better be outside looking good and looking your best and feeling your best and radiating a positive, loving, excited energy. And that's what happens when I got the suit on, when I got the designer on, when I got the jewelry on, when I got the diamond Cartiers on. And people, they only value things tangible.
Right.
I
Right.
understand that it's the things that are intangible that are probably the most valuable. You
Yep.
know?
Things you can't buy.
Man, people get around me, man, they gonna spend that money because it's what I do. Man, I'm gonna spend it to feel good. I'm gonna
Right.
spend
Yeah.
if I'm feeling good, I'm gonna do the work. And then guess
Mm-hmm.
what? It's gonna put my back against the wall. But guess what? You raise your standard. You raise your thermostat. Once you have a Rolls Royce, you can't go back to a Camry.
Yep.
Once you got the
Yep.
Cardis, you can't wear no Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
Right? So it just
Yep.
puts you at a new standard. And guess what? Whatever standard you're at, you're gonna figure out a way to stay there. So it almost forces your level up.
Yep. I agree with that, man.
You gotta have
Definitely.
an abundance mindset, man. Too many people have a scarcity mindset, but you have to start spending to start getting that abundance. Because when you spend 3,000 on some glasses, it's gonna be easy to ask somebody for 3,000. But guess what? If you always penny pinching, you're subconsciously gonna think everybody's like that. So if you're trying to sell something, you're not gonna be confident in it, which means you're not gonna put the right energy behind it, which means you're not gonna get the results because you don't even feel like people can spend that type of money because you wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I'm trying to tell you.
Man, y'all listen to him, man. This real game right here, man. But that was really all the questions I had. I was gonna ask you anything you wanna know about me. I'm trying to, put myself out there. Anything you think I should just let the people know about me?
Man, shoot, let these people know how you were riding in a Rolls Royce at 21 years old?
Yeah, 22, yeah.
Yeah. I
Man.
ain't get my first Rolls till I think like 25, 26.
Yeah, man. It was, just putting myself in a good position, man, and a lot of times with cars like that, you got to trade up into them. And that's what I was doing, like I started with the, uh, like a C63, then I got a McLaren, then I got a
Oh,
Bentley.
McLaren. Bentley. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, now tell these people, man, well, I'm curious. How do you put yourself in a position to be in those type of cars?
Just I'm what's called a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Man. My mind is always on money, always on trying to whatever the opportunity is. And like I said, I don't mind spending some money to make some money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like you said, like it goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
So
And I want to say something about that real quick, not to cut you off, but you said you always about some money. You always thinking about some money. I interview a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people, myself included. Earl Nightingale says, you get what you think about most of the time. And he said successful people think about making money and think about success all the time. That's almost all I think about.
yeah.
So the fact that you said that, the fact that the last person I had on here said that, the fact that Earl Nightingale says that, man, you get what you think about most of the time. And most people are not obsessed about trying to get some money.
Yep. 100%. Like you say, your frequency is what you frequent.
Yeah.
What you frequently see.
That's a
you
fact.
know?
What is your vibration? What are you putting into your brain every day? That's why I say, man, it's real important. What are you watching? Man, I'm going to put on YouTube. I'm going to put on Millionaire Visualization. I'm going to be looking at the mansions, the boats, the this, the that. I'm going to be looking at those houses. I'm going to get on realtor.com and look at how much do those houses cost over there. I'm going to go sit in the car. I'm going to go do the home shopping and do the open houses on the mansions. Like I'm literally trying to put that in my consciousness. Whatever you focus on, you're going to see more of. So it's best to try to curate your environment to see more success than negative things. And that's why we were talking about earlier, your environment. If you get in a more successful environment, what you see is like when you buy a new car and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. It's because it's billions of bits of information coming through your brain every day. It filters stuff out. What does it filter out? It filters out what you don't pay attention to, right? So therefore, you want to identify what you want success, and then guess what? It'll filter everything out. Then you'll see more opportunities. You'll see the right people. You'll see the right opportunity, or you'll create one. So I think it's very important to really be success conscious, like you just said you were, because then you're always going to be seeing those opportunities.
Yep. It's gonna come to you a lot easier, man. You put yourself in a good position, a good mind frame, man. Only good things can happen, man. And it's easy for you to push out the negative. Cause it's like I was watching, I'm pretty sure it was you where you were like, look in the room and tell me everything. Yeah, and it's like that. Like
It's exactly the same thing.
you know what I'm saying? The negative, you'll be able to spot it so easily.
Yeah.
That it won't even get close to you, man, because you'll be able to work around it.
Man, that's a fact. That's why it's very important what you decide to focus on. And that's why I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I program myself with my day, with positivity, with the positive affirmations, with the gratitude, with reading something positive and putting wisdom into my brain. Okay, you can say what you want about it, but at the end of the day, what I'm doing is I'm telling my brain what to focus on. And that's nothing but success, positivity, and happiness, right? So I go out into my day, that's all I'm going to see because I just programmed the start of my day with those things.
100%, man. I think we're going to wrap it up there, man. This is a powerful episode. More coming soon, man. I was going to ask you, we can talk about it off camera. I want to tap in with more people because you were saying, like, the biggest way to grow, one of the biggest ways to grow. Collaboration.
I'm telling you, it's probably one of the biggest cheat codes. And, a lot of people are starting to catch on. You're starting to see the bigger people and even companies start to realize, wow, these micro influencers, they have a big, great following. And that's almost better than marketing dollars that may fall on deaf ears because we know for a fact this demographic, we know for a fact they have a core cult following. Yeah, they're starting to make the transition too. So yeah, I'm gonna tap you in with some people to get you out there, man, because I like what you're doing. You're talking about positive things. You're talking about helping people, and it's one of the best spaces to be in when you can help people. And what happens when you help people? You reteach yourself. So you're by you helping people, you're doing them a favor, but you're doing yourself a favor because you're relearning and identifying and cleaning up what your ideology is about stuff.
100%, man. I couldn't have said that better myself. So, episode 3, Primetime CEO Podcast, Game God Goldie. Best guest on ass so far. And look, it wasn't free for me to sit here and take an hour or two from his day. All this equipment isn't free. So like the video, comment, show love, man, so I can keep doing that. I can keep bringing successful people to y'all through my channel. So episode 3 out.
I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate it, man.